So how did this all begin? Where did Zoom come from? Well, the Zoom story is surprisingly a love story. When our founder and CEO, Eric Yuan, was a fresher in college in China, he regularly took 10-hour train rides one way to visit his girlfriend, who is now his wife. He detested those train rides and used to imagine other ways to visit her without traveling. This daydreaming eventually became the basis from Zoom. So what if you could unify all your communication needs into just one platform that's video first and built for the cloud? Well, Zoom is simple. Zoom's super easy to use for both end users and IT. It takes friction out of every aspect of video communications, from purchase and deployment to everyday use and management. And Zoom brings mobile devices, desktops, phones, and conference rooms together and provides a consistent, intuitive experience across devices and spaces. Zoom is reliable. It's architected from the ground up to address the most difficult technological aspect of communications, video. A modern cloud architecture gives a platform its trademark reliability, quality, and scalability. As our customers say, it just works. Zoom is also innovative. It's the only video-first unified communication platform with 300 plus new features and enhancements each year. Zoom outpaces the competition of both speed and quality of our innovation. Founded in 2011 by Eric Yuan, our lovesick train rider, who was an engineering leader fresh from Cisco's WebEx division, who, after his product re-engineering plans were turned down, he left to create a video platform fit for the internet era. Since its Silicon Valley start, the company has grown to over 3,000 employees in 19 offices, which are all closed, around the world. And our platform is run on 19 globally distributed data centers to handle meeting traffic with surge capacity on selected cloud services. And we use Amazon Web Services to store any client data at rest. Zoom went public in 2019, as I've mentioned, is listed on NASDAQ. And we have strong revenues, which have grown very quickly. Our results on Monday were well received and have been cash flow positive for the past 3 years. Zoom is developing hundreds of features each year, as mentioned. Gartner published this in 2019. We're expecting the update shortly, with Zoom's orange dot in the right place in the magic quadrant. So before the pandemic, Zoom was already seen as a leader for meeting solutions. And the platform offers software as a service, providing the platform service across 3 major segments. Firstly, desktop communications in the light blue, video, audio meetings, Zoom Phone, which is a fully functional IP phone solution, chat, and webinars. Secondly, the platform supports conference room and spaces in orange, whether supporting legacy equipment or Zoom rooms with fully integrated digital signage and scheduling display software. The third segment is integration with line of business applications in the darker blue through application programming interfaces, software development kits, and the Zoom marketplace, in which over 600 commercial applications offer Zoom integration. Zoom, built as a platform itself, is readily integrated with other platforms. And across Zoom, the desktop works seamlessly with the conference rooms, as do both with the line of business and commercial applications. So yes, Zoom provides more than meetings. It's a platform to provide video across a complete range of use cases, from the leader's presentation to the whole company, to the video interaction as part of service delivery. And from supporting remote businesses, education, medical, judicial interactions, to customer and partner collaboration and collaboration within your own business. Oh, and it provides a very good meeting solution and a first-class phone. Among software companies, Zoom is unique. It has a clear focus on allowing the world to collaborate securely with video-first technology built to do just that, taking advantage of the internet's possibilities whilst partnering intensively with hardware providers and support organizations. And the results are simplicity, reliability, innovation, as mentioned earlier. So in summary, before the pandemic, Zoom was a successful, rapidly growing provider of friction-free video. Zoom had thousands of successful businesses as clients around the world. Been recently floated was that rare unicorn of Silicon Valley that was immediately profitable, and the company's prospects looked good, and the share price had already appreciated from the float. Zoom was making clients, investors happy, and was a great place to work. We were pleased to be able to announce in December 2019, seems like a lifetime ago, that over 10 million participants were using our platform every day. And when the first lockdowns came, Eric Yuan wanted to help. He announced that Chinese residents affected by the lockdown would no longer be constrained by their time limits in the free use of Zoom. As further countries were affected, he followed this up with announcements that schools in many countries could have unconstrained access to the platform. At the same time, those affected by the platform were finding that Zoom could help as they reinvented their lives and the way they worked, including the UK's own Prime Minister. As a consequence, the number of Zoom meeting participants began to skyrocket. Eric's desire to help was a judgment made using his deep knowledge of the platform. As well as being the CEO, he was the engineer who conceived the platform and knew that it was built to scale in the cloud, in theory, infinitely. He was right. In time, business schools and computer science students will study how Zoom was able to scale by a factor of 10 and then triple it. It's not just the number of participants, the time people are spending connected on Zoom has surged. The figures just speak for themselves. So turning to the future of work, I thought I lived in the future back in 2010. I was part of a global team using dedicated conference suites. I spent hours every day in front of screens in darkened rooms with my colleagues. I used webinars to connect with thousands of my staff across EMEA. It was the easiest meeting in the world. You could grab a cup of coffee and chat about what's happening in business and technology and answer the questions that were coming in through Q&A. And we had video deployed to 60,000 desktops. However, it seemed to be, and I couldn't really get behind this, that it was only when IT people were present and supporting interactions that video was actually used. It seemed it was far too clunky for normal users, and it was eye-wateringly expensive. Zoom's platform changed the clunkiness and the cost to use. However, it took a pandemic to truly show what was possible. As a side effect of the nightmare that we were all plunged into, we were also thrust into a massive global experiment into how to work differently. It was mostly done at speed, with, of course, necessity being the sponsor of action. And for many, overnight, they went from working at work to living at work. And with these changes came experimentation, invention, and adjustment, which are all the key inputs to evolution, and evolved we have. And as those who could take their work home did so, we found that the rules of business changed overnight. Work and professional lives just seemed to merge. And between receiving the parcels at the door, going for some daily exercise and eating, work seemed to creep into all other time. Even if it was just at the back of your mind, it's funny how the commute had previously acted as an effective separation between work and home life. Without it, segregation of work was just hard. I remember dinners with the family when I just was simply not there mentally. Of course, for managers, this changed the rule of the game entirely. They needed to help staff adjust, be more situationally sensitive, yet stay in touch and lead remotely. For many, their personal tools started to be hijacked for business use, and their business tools could become the default home service. Now, at this point, you might say, fine, but do I really need to add video to my average employee's workflow? Can't we just do some of these things with audio just fine? And though you can, there are many ways in which your employees benefited from video communication. It's far more engaging. You know you've been listened to, and you can give non-verbal feedback when you're listening. You can share screens, collaborate, and annotate, as well as pass desktop control to others. You can comment in chats and easily pass side prompts. All in all, a much richer way to work together when apart. To everyone's great credit, the home working evolution happened so quickly, and video played a huge role in this. It wasn't simple. As kids stayed at home, as bandwidth was stressed, and stuff just happened in the background. And information security folks had kittens as they tried to catch up with protocols for new virtual workspaces. And in the UK, as the country reopens, work is evolving and the government is pressing people to return to work, whilst of course social distancing and avoiding public transport. And from what we've heard from clients, where work ends up will not be what work was previously. People do not want to gather together in big numbers, in crowded and conference rooms, in crowded office spaces. They don't want to travel on mass transport, and moving back will happen slowly and not completely. There's a strong demand for video to become part of normal workflow. If you need to speak to someone, a help desk, or get advice to collaborate on a matter, it should be possible to immediately discuss face-to-face as soon as possible in part of the business process you're in. Wouldn't you love the option to click to have a discussion on video when it's clear that interacting with a chat bot or using human chat just can't take your task to the next level? With this slow return, making sure that people can use video safely and securely is essential. This may mean changing business process to securely use video. Recordings and chat logs may have a role to play, and many are already exporting these into compliance analysis and storage platforms. Triggering video at the appropriate place in your business can really help when the business process can fully configure the settings appropriate to the point in that process. And Zoom has worked hard to make it as easy as possible to do all these things. The genie is out of the bottle. The next normal is being driven by leaders, staff, partners, and customers, and they all now know what is possible. They don't want to return to the past, and majorities are speaking out and want home working permanently, or at least occasionally. And the new digital workplace is simple. Like all good user experience, it just blends into how you work anyway. It's seamless, must be versatile across platforms, and be a totally reliable experience. And frictionless, it must just work when you need it, at the point that you need it. And responding to all this new, responding to this new workplace, Zoom has introduced Zoom for Home. Many of our clients told us that people in their organizations could be on 10 hours of Zoom interactions a day, and this was draining as they juggled their existing devices. And we worked with them hard to find a way to ease this, and part of the answer is dedicated devices at entry-level prices, about £500, which use each user's existing Zoom license. There's no more licensing to pay, but it provides studio-level video experiences at home. So it just takes away some of that edge of juggling your windows on your various devices. We've seen amazing demand for this, and I think this is going to be a massive feature as people configure their home to be able to work in as productive a way as possible. And as people return to work, we're also finding increasing interest in Zoom Room software. You think we're a pandemic, everyone's working from home, but actually people are planning for the future, and they want to be able to configure their office space to allow the interaction of people at home with Office in a way that was meets the demands of today. And they also want to allow one-touch or verbal control for safe usage. And the trend seems to be for smaller spaces, and the requirement is for that limited physical interaction with the equipment. And the new way of work just doesn't impact your colleagues. Your customers have different expectations. They may not want to visit you or have you round. They're open to suggestion of how to deliver services better. And we are seeing iconic brands reinventing how they do business. And we see this trend built on by other business applications. Software service providers realize that video improves the business processes that they support today. And over 600 commercially available applications now have Zoom built in. Zoom provides the video to support the overall interaction, triggered from the heart of your business process. And this 600 number is up from 100 this time last year. That's a 6 times increase in the number of applications that have Zoom built in. If that's not a trend, then I don't know what is. So the rules for work have all changed. The limitations of the past have been proved wrong, and it took a pandemic to show us the way. I wish it hadn't been such, but we are where we are. People can be highly productive and effective remotely. You do not have to live close by, work close by to be able to collaborate well. It's not all plain sailing, but we are seeing companies, leaders, and customers change. And some will really take advantage of this and profit. And a fundamental part of that will be to allow people